All right, so the United States government is deporting Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian activist, and I think this is an issue that I have a unique perspective on, so I want to talk about it. And I think that he should be deported, and I think that even if you're conservative, even if you are against Israel, I think you should still support this deportation. And here's why. So, just to give you some background, Mahmoud Khalil, he's a graduate student at Columbia. He was involved in the student protests in Columbia, and basically, the Trump administration is claiming that he was a face of the divestment movement, and so that's why that they're deporting him because it has links to terrorists, right? And um, he's claiming that he actually had nothing to do with the protests. He was just acting as a mediator between the protesters and Colombia, and that this is an infringement of free speech. So, my opinion on this is you, as a foreigner in the United States, do not have free speech. And it's clear that he is on a student visa. You do not have free speech if you're a foreigner in the United States. And this is why I think the issue is important, because I think that what the left is trying to do, and this is the key issue in the immigration debate, I believe, is that they really are trying to blur the line between citizen and not citizen, so that every single person in the United States basically has the same rights, and that we're all people in the United States, and we're all, the same. And that's not true, right? And I think that when it comes to political speech in the United States, this is a key distinction, and this is a thing that, you know, as Americans, we really need to draw a dividing line on, where I'm sorry if you are not an American and you are living in America, you are not allowed to criticize the United States government within America. That is my strong opinion. And the reason why I have a unique perspective on this is I've spent the past 2 years traveling around the world. And I remember like thinking like I remember my mindset before I started traveling where I might have not had this opinion. I might have thought, hey, we all have free speech, we're all allowed to criticize whoever we want in America. And after living abroad for 2 years, just the concept for me of criticizing a foreign criticizing a country that I am in a visa on is so outside the realm of my personal comprehension that it has just changed my opinion on this, right? So, just to give you an example, right? So, I'm in Brazil right now. And I'm not saying this is a criticism of Brazil, I'm just using it as an example, right? So, Brazil has a ban on X. I personally love X. I would love to be able to use X in Brazil, but Brazil has a ban on X, so I'm not allowed to, right? Maybe I privately grumble about it, right? But I would never, as an American on a visa in Brazil, I would never make a video on this channel criticizing the X ban, especially while living in Brazil, right? That's one. Number two, if there was a protest protesting the ban on X in Brazil, I would never ever step within 10,000 feet of that fucking protest. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I have no fucking right to tell the Brazilian government what they are allowed to allow or not allow within their borders. I have no fucking right. I am not a Brazilian. I have no right to tell them what to do. If they want to ban X, they have the right to ban X. If they don't want to ban X, they have the right not to ban X. And as an American living in Brazil, if I do not like the X ban, guess what I can do? I can fucking leave. I can leave. That's my choice. My choice as an American living in Brazil is I can either adhere to the X ban or I can get the fuck out of the country. Those are my two choices. I have no right to criticize the Brazilian government about this while being a guest in their country, and I especially have no fucking right to go to protest about it, and 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 for me, it would be so insane to um to even make that excuse, right? Of like, oh, I wasn't, like if there was a huge protest of the X band, and I didn't, I didn't participate, but I was just a mediator between the people and the government. Like that is just such an insane excuse for me. Like if I were to do that, I the entire time I was making that excuse, I would just be like, but but why did I even go to the protest? Why do I even know these people who are protesting? Why am I even engaging in this in any sort of way? I am a guest in their country. Why am I doing this? Right? And and I think that as Americans, we need to start having the same opinion about people protesting against the United States within our country. If you're in the United States and you are on a visa, you are not allowed within 500 feet of a protest. The First Amendment does not apply to you. You are not a United States citizen. You do not have a First Amendment right in the United States. You are not allowed to go near a protest. This is just so ridiculous that people think that they have the right to come into the country and protest against the government while on a visa. Or while, well, even on a green card, I don't think you should be allowed to protest. If you go to a protest on a green card, get the fuck out of the country. Because if you do not like what the country is doing, then leave. If you think the government, if you think the country is a, globalist, imperialist, oppressive power, why the fuck would we ever want you to be a United States citizen? You obviously hate this country, so why would we allow you to be a U.S. citizen? Get the fuck out of the country. You obviously hate it, right? And again, like, this is so absurd to me as a person who's been spent the past 2 years traveling. Like, if I thought that Brazil was a global colonialist power, right? I'm not even gonna like make like the actual like criticisms that one could have of Brazil, because again, as an American, I have no right to make criticisms of the Brazilian government while I'm in Brazil. Like, if I believe that, like, why would I be a citizen? Why would I apply to be a citizen of this country that I think is bad? Right? And we need to start, I think we really need to start standing up for this stuff in our country. We're like, no, we're not going to allow people who hate the country to become citizens of the country. No, we're not going to allow people who hate the country to live here and tell other Americans how shitty the country they live in is. No, we're not allowing that anymore. I'm sorry. If an American citizen wants to complain about the fucking government, go ahead. You have every single right. You're an American citizen. But if you don't, get the fuck out of the country. And I apply this to myself. So, for people who don't know, again, traveling around the world for the past 2 years, I have a fiance who's not an American citizen. If we moved back to the United States and there was a protest about something, and she was like, hey, I'm gonna go to this protest, I'd just be like, no, you're not. You're not fucking going to this protest. What right do you have to protest this government? You are not a U.S. citizen. Sorry. And so she's from Venezuela. If we move to Venezuela, there's obviously a lot of stuff that I disagree with the Venezuelan government about. I would never protest the Venezuelan government while living in Venezuela. I have no fucking right. You don't like the government? Get the fuck out. Anyway, that's just my opinion on it.